When you're scrolling through the endless sea of gaming laptops, you've probably seen a bunch of slick photos that promise buttery smooth frames, desktop-level performance, and a screen that looks like it was ripped straight out of a demo reel. The problem is, those pictures often hide the reality: a machine that cranks out insane numbers on paper but feels cramped on a coffee shop table, or a display that looks gorgeous in the showroom but drenches your eyes after a couple of hours of play. If you're anything like me, you've felt that hesitation, wondering whether the next high-end laptop will finally be the one that lives up to the hype, or just another pricey disappointment. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'm going to walk through exactly what the Lenovo Legion Pro 7i Gen 10 does in real life, where it shines, and where it falls short, so you can decide if it's worth the cash or if you should keep looking. First off, let's talk about who this laptop is built for. If you're a competitive esports player who needs a 240Hz screen that can keep up with 144 frames per second titles, or a content creator who wants to edit 4K video while a game runs in the background, the Legion Pro's combination of a 16-inch OLED panel, an RTX 5090 GPU, and 64GB of DDR5 RAM makes a lot of sense. The OLED display, with its 500 nit brightness and 100% DCI-P3 coverage, delivers punchy colors and deep blacks that make open-world games feel immersive, and the 240Hz refresh rate actually translates to smoother motion in fast shooters when you turn on NVIDIA Reflex. That said, if you're more of a casual gamer who mainly enjoys indie titles or older AAA games, you're probably paying for performance you'll never tap out. The same laptop also doubles as a portable workstation. The 2TB of PCIe Gen 4 SSD space means you can keep an extensive game library, a 4K video project, and all your tools without worrying about hitting the wall. But there's a catch: the OLED panel, while stunning, can drain the battery faster than a standard LCD, and its glossy finish shows fingerprints and glare if you're gaming near a window. Let's dig into daily usability. I took the machine on a day trip to a co-working space, plugged it into a regular 65W outlet, and tried a typical workflow: launch Cyberpunk 2077, start a 4K video render in DaVinci Resolve, and keep a Discord call open. The RTX 5090 held steady at around 90W power draw, and the laptop didn't throttle under sustained load thanks in large part to its 24-core Intel Ultra 9275HX, which can shift between 2.7 GHz base and a burst of 5.4 GHz when the cores need extra oomph. In practice, that meant the game stayed above 70 frames per second on high settings, and the video render used all 64GB of RAM without hitting a wall. The biggest inconvenience was the fan noise. When both GPU and CPU were maxed out, the fans got loud enough that you'd hear them over a conversation, which might be uncomfortable in a quiet library. The laptop also runs warm on the keyboard after an hour of intense gaming. The left side of the palm rests at about 38°C, which is noticeable but not unbearable. If you plan to game in a silent environment, you might want to keep a headset on to mask the whirring. Now, about the storage layout. Lenovo chose two 1TB NVMe drives rather than a single 2TB module. This gives you the flexibility of setting up RAID 0 for even faster sequential reads if you're comfortable tinkering with the BIOS. For most users, the benefit is marginal, but it does mean you can separate your OS and games onto different drives, which can shave a second or two off boot times. The downside is that you lose the ease of a single larger drive. If one of the SSDs fails, you lose half your data unless you have a backup plan. In my testing, the drives were both reliably fast, hitting 8 GB per second read speeds, but the real-world speed boost only mattered when moving massive 4K footage around. Battery life is another practical metric. With the OLED screen at 500 nits and the high refresh rate, the 80Wh battery lasted roughly 3 hours of mixed-usage gaming, streaming, and some light editing. If you're planning on using this laptop on the go without a charger, that's a short window. It's clear the design priorities leaned heavily into performance rather than endurance, which is fine if you intend to keep it near a power outlet most of the time. The 5MP front camera with an electronic shutter is decent for quick video calls, but it's not a feature you'll rely on for streaming. You'll likely pair the laptop with an external webcam if you need higher quality. Let's talk about the keyboard and overall ergonomics. Lenovo kept the classic Legion layout with perky RGB lighting, which is nice for gamers who want a bit of flair. The key travel is about 1.5 mm, feels somewhat shallow compared to mechanical keyboards, but the tactile bump is sufficient for long sessions. The